Hello, Jessica here. Welcome back to Jessie K Creates. Today's video is super exciting because Hero Arts reached out to me last month and asked if I wanted to guest design for their community blog in November. And of course, I said yes because what an exciting opportunity. So they let me pick out 5 different items to create with that they sent to me for free. And the first item in the community line that really stood out to me were the Skin Tone Liquid Watercolor set. So you get 3 different watercolors, terracotta, cocoa, and coffee. I've swatched them out here so I could get a feel for what they look like. And I thought these were just gorgeous. So I definitely wanted to use the watercolors on all of my cards. Another item from the community line that I really liked was the encouragement sentiment strips. These are awesome because it's one stamp, but it gives you a bunch of different encouraging sentiments. And y'all know I love to create encouragement cards, so I thought this was perfect. Next up, I also got the Sentiment Strips Fancy Die. It coordinates with the Sentiment Strips stamp, so you just line them up and it cuts out all of the sentiments at once, which I think is brilliant because then you have sentiments ready to go when you're creating your cards. Next up, I really loved the United People bold print. It is a rubber stamp and it has this like really awesome line work that has all of these different, faces on it. So I thought that was absolutely beautiful. I also really wanted to play with the Friendships Bloom stamp set. This is a collaboration between Hero Arts and Gina K, so it's not part of the community line, but I just loved that big bold floral spray. And lastly, this was an item that I didn't pick out, but Hero Arts included it in my package, which was really sweet and kind of them. And this is the Rainbow Heroescapes stamp set where you can create these really fun rainbows, and you even have words that you can fit into your rainbows. So those are the 5 items, well, and plus that 6th bonus item that they sent me for free to create with. And now I want to show you the cards. So originally this was going to be a tutorial, but I had some issues. I lost a lot of my footage, so I'll include what I can, but it's going to end up being more like a project share. So to start with, I took the Skin Tone Liquid Watercolors, and I just made a very loose, light background. I watered down all 3 colors considerably because I knew I wanted to stamp down the bold people stamp and then go in and add more color. So I needed the background to be really light to begin with, so I still had some wiggle room. So I made my background, trimmed it down to fit in my MISTI. Originally, I was going to gold heat emboss this stamp, but when I was looking at it with the acetate backer to make sure I was, stamping it on the portion of the watercolor that I liked, I thought it looked really great in black. So I decided to black heat emboss it instead. So here I just have my black VersaFine ink pad, and I had to stamp this probably 3 or 4 times. And that's because I'm stamping onto watercolor paper, which has a very kind of rough, bumpy texture. So to make sure I got all the nooks and crannies, I stamped it down 3 or 4 times, although I did cut that out of the video. And then I covered that with my black embossing powder. And I went back in with a paintbrush just to wipe off any embossing powder that was in spaces I didn't want it to be. And then I heated that up with my heat gun. Now, once that was done, I wanted to go back in and add some color to the faces just to add a little bit more life and dimension to this background. When I did this, I only added color to, the face, the ears, the neck. I didn't add any color to the hair, and I also didn't want to add any color to the shirts. I did my best to just add it to the faces, but I thought it really did add a lot of life to the background that we had already created. Okay, so that's what my camera cut out, but it took us pretty close to the end of the card. So I just went ahead and I kept adding detail to the faces just to add more interest and dimension to the card. And then once that whole panel was done and dried, I used the Hero Arts nesting rectangle dies to cut out a panel that was the size of a card. And then I used the encouragement sentiment strips. I heat embossed the sentiment in white on some black cardstock and cut them out with the coordinating dies, which was really nice because then I had like a whole pile of dies. You can see I actually have extras of sentiments that I didn't use that I'm just storing in the back of the pouch. But I popped that up on foam tape. I hope you can see that. So there is dimension there. And that completed the first card. I loved how this turned out. Yeah, just really happy with this first card. I think this one might be my favorite. So for card number 2, again, I wanted to feature the watercolors. So I just painted stripes on watercolor paper. That's it. I just used the watercolor and painted stripes. Sometimes I watered the ink down a lot, so I'd get lighter colors. Other times I used it full strength. So even though I only used 3 of the colors, it looks like I got a lot more by adding water to them to get varying shades, I guess, of each of the colors. Then I took the Friendship Blooms stamp, that's this one. I took it and I gold embossed it onto the panel. And then again, I used a nesting rectangle die to go ahead and cut that panel out. And I mounted that with some foam tape onto a kind of light pink card base. And since I already had a stack of sentiments die cut, I went ahead and picked my favorite one, which is this Good Enough is Good Enough. I think that's such a beautiful sentiment to remember to like slow down, be compassionate and kind with yourself, be graceful to yourself, especially for anyone who's a recovering perfectionist like me. So I just thought it was really, really a beautiful sentiment. I really loved it on this kind of soft card. So that was card number 2. And then for card number 3, I still wanted to use the watercolors, but I went in a little bit of a different direction. So I took the Rainbow Heroscape stamp set that they sent me, and I did faux watercoloring with it. So for each of the stamps, like instead of inking it up with an ink pad, I used the watercolors. And so I used each color twice. The first time I used it at like full strength. So you can see here, I think this was Coffee at full strength. And then the second time I used a watered down version of Coffee. And the same thing with Cocoa and Terracotta. I used them at full strength and then I used lighter versions of them. And I really love how that gave me a very like pretty full cohesive rainbow, even though we're just using different shades of like browns and pinks essentially. But I love the way that ended up looking. And I also really love that the stamp kind of creates the little clouds for you, because even though they're not stamped down, it still suggests that there are clouds in front of this rainbow, and I really liked that. And then for the sentiment on this card, I just took one of the sentiments on the little bows. I love how there are a whole bunch of little ones that just fit the rainbow. They're so cute. So I just took one that said, "Sending a little love your way," and I gold embossed that onto the card. When I was sketching out this card, I envisioned it with gold, although if I did it again, I might do it with white, so it's a little bit more legible, but I still love the way that this card turned out as well. So these are the 3 cards that I created for the Hero Arts community blog using the products that I showed you at the beginning of the video. I want to say thank you so much to Hero Arts for allowing me to be a guest designer. It was such a blast and I had so much fun making all of these cards. Please be sure, if you haven't already, I'll have the link to the blog post down below. Please go check it out. Also, check out some of the other products that folks have made with the community line as well while you're there. It's a great place to get lots of really good inspiration. So guys, thank you so much for watching this video. If you liked it, please give it a thumbs up. That helps other people find the video and to find my channel. And if you want to catch all of the videos that I put out, make sure that you hit the subscribe button. And if you click the notification bell, then you'll get notified every time I put out a new video. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and I will see you in the next video. Bye!